Crafty Babes. This is Andrea, and we're here to chat about all the ways we live our craftiest lives.
And I'm Melissa, and we're here to inspire you to craft in a way that works for you.
Hey,
how you
welcome
been?
back, chica.
I know.
My little Mexico babe.
I feel like when we were down there, I was like, do people really just move to Mexico and just live there? And I just, we watched this show about it the night before we left in the hotel we were at, about these people who just moved to Puerto Vallarta and just live down there. But they're like, I don't remember, there's like stockbrokers or something,
Of course.
They can do whatever online. And they
don't have real lives.
Yeah, I'm like, what do they do? Like, they just go to the beach every day? What do they do?
Wow. Well, must be nice.
I know. And I was like, as we were sitting there on the beach and everything, I was like, I don't know if I could do this every day. This would just, like, what else is there to do? Like, what would you do?
It feels
and now
a little
I'm back,
boring.
I'm like, okay, I feel like I could do it.
Take me back.
I feel like I could totally just sell everything and move to Mexico.
Well, if you're new here, Alyssa was just spent the week in Mexico, which is why we were on a little bit of a hiatus.
Kick. Oh, just kidding. I mean hiatus.
So that was part of why we were on a little bit of a break, to just kind of let her prepare for that trip and have her fun. And now we get to chat about that. We do have some updates, though. We got quite a few new comments and reviews. Thank you guys so much. I know. So many that we will be going weekly.
Yay.
So we will have, podcasts every week. They're going to be shorter. So we're going to keep them to just kind of one topic and see if we can stay on that topic and kind of see where that goes.
That'll be interesting. And by that I mean challenging.
Yes. But for the people who listen to the podcast, you probably don't see or hear anything different. But the people that watch us are probably noticing that we're not moving. And there is no live video, or not live video, but there's no video of us
this week
chatting.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's not going to be a video probably for a while, just because, number one, it's a lot of work,
Yeah.
It really is. Let's be honest about that. And it's also, it's work for us, but it's also work for my husband, who
does
is a professional media producer and has several other jobs other than to help me with the podcast. And this is an extremely busy time for him. So when I suggested that maybe we ixnay the video for now, it definitely could come back. He said, it'll free everybody up. It'll be a few less things, and everybody, hopefully you'll still stick around. And of course we're still putting it on YouTube. We're not live, but for those of you who use YouTube as the vehicle to listen to the podcast, still there.
Oh yeah.
Just not
maybe we'll have
faces.
More fun squirrel knitting photos.
That was a good
one.
The
week that my video failed, which is another reason that I just was really thrilled to take a break from video for a while, because it is not my strong suit. I am a photographer. I am not a videographer. It's a whole...
And some people love to think that if you can do one, you can do the other. They are completely separate animals.
Oh, yeah. There is so much more. Not that there's not skill involved in photography, but it's a whole separate... Photography almost has nothing to do with videography, other than knowing how to use a camera. So on my end, trying to get everything set up and not being able to see behind the camera, and then trying to make sure it's good and everything, it was tough to get it a good quality like what was coming out of your end, which obviously is more work for Matt. And so I am really excited about it right now, because
me too. And I think the best part is that I'm not wearing any makeup.
Yeah, I'm not wearing any clothes.
Awesome.
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally wearing clothes.
You would so take it there.
You would see like a lot of really, really weird tan lines because of said Mexico trip.
Yes.
It looks like I'm wearing this really, really pasty white.
Oh my
bikini.
gosh.
It was bad, but so
Oh
good.
yeah, you guys got some sun, but that was probably good for your spirit. So glad you did.
So good. And now coming
seriously
back, I'm like,
oh god,
I'm missing out on the sunshine. Like I went and sat outside, bundled up in a coat and a blanket, and it was like 70 degrees. Like I was like, what's happening to me?
Oh my gosh, I bet it was so warm. Yeah. Heck
now
yeah.
I'm like allergic to regular weather.
Man, 1 week, that's all it takes?
Apparently.
I bet it will. I know when I go to Mexico and lay out on a cruise ship for 5 days, I'm going to feel the same.
Yeah. I would highly recommend don't do what I did and think you're the shiz and wear SPF 30 sunscreen on your second day.
Probably not good.
I'm going to recommend a different course of action.
Well,
for you. But speaking of travel,
of big trips and traveling.
See, look, we're reeling it back in. Reel the fish.
Yeah. We're going to talk about how to document your big trips.
Yep.
Because it can be super overwhelming. Do you know how many pictures you took?
I actually did not take as many as I thought I would. Let me see. I want to say I maybe took 100.
So,
I really don't think 100
pictures.
Terrible, but when you're trying to condense 100 photos into one thing, one album, one traveler's notebook, which is one of the things we talk about is that is helpful when you travel is trying to establish what would you call that? Format.
A plan. Yeah. Have a plan. What kind of format are you going to document this in? Do you know that ahead of time?
Yeah.
And that's one thing I was going to ask you is did you know ahead of time how you were going to document this so that you took pictures in a certain way in order to like fit it in that format?
I was pretty sure I was going to do a traveler's notebook. Just because I have been wanting to do a traveler's notebook for a while, and I've just been, finishing up my 6x8 pocket album. And so I was like, I just really want to do traveler's notebook. I haven't gotten to do that much. And so I'm still kind of thinking I am going to do that. But
okay.
After I started thinking about it, based on the amount of photos that I took, and I just have to kind of go through and decide which ones I'm for sure going to use. I am a little worried about a traveler's notebook being too chunky. So I have to just look at a traveler's notebook, figure out which photos, kind of just do a little bit of planning, figure out which photos are going to go on which page, how many that's going to add up to. And kind of my backup plan is what I have seen you and Jessica do.
I was just going to suggest that if you hadn't seen it yet.
Yep.
Cool.
Is essentially cut the spine out and bind it with rings. Would you say that's how you would describe it?
Yeah, and you can do that with a traveler's notebook that you already own, like I did. The reason why I chopped mine up is because I already had pages glued into that traveler's notebook.
Yes.
But you could easily, from scratch, just make your own covers.
That's what I thought.
You don't have to, you don't have to cut apart one. But since I already have so many, I'll probably end up using those. And then I like to be able to use the paper from inside just so that it doesn't go to waste, So, but you could.
And that was my thought since I didn't have an album or a notebook yet. And I even thought about seeing if Jess would make me some special wood.
Oh, those wood covers are delicious.
And I could even get it, have her laser cut me like a special one that says Mexico or something like that. And see if she would make something for me that I could buy from her shop that would just house that a little bit better because
I like the idea of the thicker cover and back too because I feel like it makes it a bit more secure and especially if you're going for, probably somewhere around 30 pages, I would imagine that if you culled your 100 photos down to 30 for an entire week worth of being on the beach and dinners and selfies and travel and the hotel room and all of those things. I mean, you could easily have 30 photos.
Oh, yeah. easily. It's going to be rough to keep it at 30.
I know. I'm still working on my PlannerCon one.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, that was 3 days. It was just 3 days. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Uh-huh.
But one thing that I noticed is easy to do with, well, it helped me with planning out how to, just kind of planning out what photos and how to order them, I guess, is by like for PlannerCon, I did it by day. So day 1, I have all the day 1 stuff.
Yep.
And then I just work on those until I'm ready to do day 2. And like, for example, when I did Disneyland, when we went to Disneyland in 2015, I scrapbooked in a 12 by 12 pocket album, but I did mine by land. So each land had all the photos that I ever took within each land so that all of the supplies matched.
What do you mean land?
So Frontierland, Adventureland,
gotcha.
For all the different lands that Disneyland has. Even if we went to Frontierland every single day, I combine all the Frontierland photos into one section so that the supplies were the same. And I could just use, like, I bought supplies that matched the Frontierland theme.
Sure.
You know, so breaking it out and finding what themes or what categories you can group things into to make your scrapbooking a little bit easier. Like maybe you guys do, like maybe you do all the beach photos all get kind of put together. Mm-hmm. You know, all the dinner photos get put together. Something like that, you know, just a different way to think about honing in.
Yeah. Well, and it would be a different way to tell it because I went back and one thing I wish I would have done while I was there was editing my photos every day from that day at the end of the day. But I don't know what it was, whether it was the sunburn or whether it was like the travel or sleeping in a new place or whatever. But we got to like 8:30 every night and I was so exhausted. Like,
yeah, I bet it was a combination of all that.
Yeah, it was like the opposite of how we are here. Like I'm usually the night owl and you know, taking naps as much as I can. And on the trip, Chad was the night owl and taking naps as much as he could. And I was like, I'm going to stay awake. And then at 8:30, I was like,
the sun must have zapped you.
Oh, it was bad. I was really, really burned.
I know.
So I wish I would have edited every day because then I got back and I just was like, edit, quick.
And it gets really overwhelming when you have so many. It just becomes really tedious and then you forget or you get distracted and then you don't go back to it. And then it's been a week and you still haven't gone back to it. And then weeks go by and then you're like, now I have this gigantic project.
Rather than doing just a little bit
on
each day. Yeah.
Yep. And just like Disneyland, I'll use that as an example because it is a lot of people do that kind of trip and it's such a big trip that we took breaks because my kids were a lot younger. Not a lot younger. It was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But we would have to take breaks during the day. And so we'd come back to the hotel room and I would edit my photos then for whatever we took for the morning.
Yep.
And then when we got back at night, I would again edit the photos from the latter part of the day. And then that way, when I got home, all of my photos were edited. And it was just, you know, sure, you're sitting on your phone for 10 minutes, but you're going to be doing that anyway.
Yeah. I know. And then
so a great idea.
The other thing I wished I would have done while we were there was journal every day.
Oh, yeah.
Because even though it was last week, like I can't exactly remember. I remember the facts of everything. I remember certain feelings, but I don't remember, like, when I was on the beach, I should have reached over and grabbed my phone or reached over and grabbed my notebook and just written, this beach is beautiful. They're building a lifeguard stand right behind us and the chainsaws are buzzing and it's been going on for 2 hours and I wish the beach was quiet or, you know, just little thoughts and different things. Because then when I got back, one of my first things that I really wanted to do was just grab a notebook real quick and journal out kind of some of the things from the different days. But like the first day I remembered really well, the first day or two, and then the middle chunk I just don't have as many details from, and then the last chunk I have really good recollection of, because it was like after I had started to feel better after my sunburn, and it was like our last dinner there, and we saw a show, and then we traveled home, and all those things. So I have good memories from the bookends, and in the middle I'm like, what exactly did we do?
Well, you may not have done much, and that may be why there's not a lot of details, because maybe there just wasn't a lot of detail. Maybe it was just you guys freaking relaxing.
Yep.
And I mean,
that was totally it. And that happened, like we both said that before we went down there, was we were totally okay if we spent the bulk of our time on the beach, sitting on our butts, reading books. Like, we just were fine with that. And so, that might be just, like you said, that section of beach photos and me going, we didn't really do any excursions. We didn't really do a ton of stuff because of the sunburns, but by golly, we sat on our butts next to each other. We read some books, we chatted, we collected seashells, and it was just a really good time. But grouping it in that different way will keep it from being like, day 1, we sat on the beach. Day 2, we sat on the beach. Day 3, we sat on the beach. It'll just give it a break up, be able to break it up in a different way.
Yeah.
Maybe I do day 1 and day 7 in actual days, but then in between I vary it up or
that'd be cool too. I like that idea.
Totally.
Yeah, and even if it's like the same photo of, I mean, obviously it's not the same photo, but a photo of you in your lounge chair. And then maybe the details about that are, your bathing suit, what time range you guys stayed out there, the other little details about the beach that differed from the other day at the beach, So hopefully your brain can, when you get a little further away and maybe the more you journal, maybe more things will start to kind of flutter in.
I know. I'm kind of thinking I need to do like a brain dump of a couple little things, because there's a couple things that come to mind as I think back that I wouldn't have necessarily, and that I didn't write down in my journaling when I was, mass journaling all the details about the guy that we kept seeing at the beach that reminded me of this one actor, and now I can't think of his name. But every time I'd see them, I'd be like, oh, hey, it's that one guy. And then this other couple that we saw when we were rinsing off our feet from being at the beach, and the lady told me she liked my toenail color.
Oh.
And then like the time
remember those things.
Just those little things I need to do a brain dump about, the random memories. And then, because that was my thought, is if I just journal down a bunch of different things, who knows what exactly I'll end up using. Because if they're all relevant details, I could go, I like this one better because when I set out this page, this seems to fit here. Or, I can take my pick as to, especially since a lot of details are the same, I can include some random things in there, or some quirky stories or whatever along with all the photos.
Yeah, and I like too that you can pre-plan just a little bit as far as not only knowing how you're going to document, but maybe even what you're going to document with. Yep. So did you do any like shopping for supplies beforehand so that you knew kind of what kind of themes you were going to be working with?
I kind of I did a little bit of looking around on like scrapbook.com, looked at some different travel things. A lot of the stuff seemed to be really, really themed, like really heavily beach themed, or really heavily, just like seashells and, different things. And so I was trying to get a couple things. I want to say I did get one sticker set from Michael's that may have been about the beach or about travel or something. I don't remember. And then I did order one set of stickers from, what's that company called? Everyday Explorers.
Oh, yeah. Because her stuff is really travel heavy.
Yes. And I really wanted to get one of the stamp sets, but we don't travel super duper often.
Yeah.
This happens to be a heavier travel year for us. But I didn't, the stamp sets are a little bit more expensive than I would, normally spend on a stamp set. And so I was trying to, make the most cost effective decision. So I got one of her sticker sets that
Oh, that's
released.
Perfect.
It's like the stamp in a sticker version. So those are the only things I really got beforehand. And then afterwards, when I got back, I needed to order 12 by 12 albums for 2018. And so I went ahead and picked up the 6 by 8 paper pack from Crate Paper called Wild Heart, I think it's called.
Oh.
Because it's kind of a tropically themed paper without being like a beach
without it looking
paperback
like the Golden
or a
Girls
travel paperback, you know, like
did it look like all the Golden Girls decorations in their house,
right? So it just
awesome.
I could see myself using, you know, it had some beachy type things like a page of palm leaves, but then it had a page of just a pretty pattern or something, you know, and so
it wasn't too overwhelming.
No, I don't feel like. Okay. And I also feel like, because I was going to order the embellishments, but again, trying to be reasonably cost effective. And I was like, how many things am I actually going to use of this? You know, if I order the embellishment kit, how many palm leaf branches am I actually going to use? How many toucans am I actually going to use? How many?
Gosh, zero toucans.
Exactly.
Did you see a toucan?
What?
Did you see
no,
one?
we didn't see toucan. Which is why I was like,
no.
I'm just
that no.
Not gonna. Even if I saw a toucan, I wouldn't necessarily put a toucan on a page with a toucan.
I agree. It's like overdone. Like, oh, it's not necessary. You've got a picture of the toucan.
My thought is if for some reason I wanted to use a toucan, which I am absolutely not against using a toucan. So I'm not like you are, where I like have to see a literal llama.
How many times are we going to say toucan?
Well, let's try to set a record for saying toucan.
Dying
in a toucan show.
Okay, let's see if we can we'll just name it Toucan. We'll just name it the Toucan Show.
Toucan episode. Toucan.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Reining it back in.
So my concession to that was I thought if there was something that I really wanted to use from the kit that might have been in the embellishment pack, I thought there's a good chance it might be on the paper in some form.
Oh.
So I could fussy cut it out of the paper and kind of have, because what I didn't want to end up with is this big stash of beach travel stuff that I just really wasn't going to use. So I was like, you know what? All of my LA Studio stuff that has a really simple, clean look, the labels, the banners, the enamel dots, that stuff will all work just fine. And, you know, I've got the couple cool travel-y stickers. I've got, even thought some of the papers I considered ordering online that looked like they had not a obnoxious beach wave pattern in the background, but maybe like this blue thing that looked like a beach wave.
Sure, like watercolor patterns or something.
Yeah. I was like, you know what? I could find some paper in my stash that is blue, even if it's just light blue and white striped. Could that work?
Even if it's wood grain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it just, there's so many, I was just trying to, you know, make good cost-effective decisions.
You're being so good.
I know, I'm trying really hard.
I know.
But, you know, I window shopped the heck out of travel-y, beachy supplies and stuff, and I'm really glad that I didn't end up buying a lot of the things that I thought about buying, because I just feel like it would have sat in a huge pile when my album was done. And
I agree.
You know, yes, I'm sure I will go to the beach again, but it may not be for a year or two. And even when I go to the beach again, I may not want to use exactly the same stuff. I don't know. So,
yeah.
And
I think that's a smart move. It's like when we bought, you know, paper that had a football field on it. Like, okay, it's just, you know, I think you did the smart thing by finding colors that go with the theme of your photos and sprinkling in themes of what you did and where you were, versus it being a totally beach themed album. Like, you're getting that from your pictures. And so I don't think you need all the embellishments to tell those stories. A few, sure. Sprinkle them in. I think that's a good idea.
So the one thing that came out, well, for us design team members from Kelly Banks Creative right before we left and then released while we were gone, was a kit called, I gotta make sure I get it right, Enjoy Your Stay. And I think it's just kind of like a beachy, not really even beachy, but like vacation.
It's kind of motel-y.
Yeah. But I thought it's got some really cool elements in it that I would just work for a vacation, for a trip. And so I was like, perfect. I can do this for, a design team thing and actually use it in my album. So I think that's probably where I'll start is with that kit. And then and the nice thing about if I do it in a ring bound traveler's notebook type thing is I can just do whatever page I want that I feel like coordinates with the kit, and I can just stick it wherever I want, and then I can move it somewhere. You know what I mean? Like I have a little bit more freedom than actually having it bound in a notebook.
In a specific order. Yeah, once it's in there, that's the order that it's in.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome. I love that kit. It's so fun. It's got like the patterns of hotel carpeting and wallpaper and the little striped luggage. It's super cute.
I know. And I took a couple photos of our room and stuff. And so I was like, maybe I'll use it to kind of document like our room and what it looked like. And I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But
I like it.
It was just a really good, I was like, oh, you read my mind. This works great.
Nice. Perfect timing.
Yes.
Cool. Well, I think we've covered everything that we really wanted to chat about. Do you think?
I believe so. And if not, we talked enough about toucans to fill the episode.
For any podcast.
Because if we can, toucan.
Oh my gosh.
Let that sink in.
Sinking in. Oh goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I wanted to wrap up with a couple of things. We are still hanging out in the Hey Crafty Babes Facebook group. So there's kind of always questions being asked or people adding to the weekly project thread that we post. There's just, there's kind of always little side conversations going on. It's fun. So come join us there.
Yes.
And the other thing that happened during the week in which happened before this episode will air, if we were filming, I would have had my hand like floating all over the place like an idiot. So I'm really glad that we are just audio today. Is that I launched something pretty cool in my shop.
So excited.
And I'm actually staring at the actual physical product.
You got it in.
It's here. Whose is that?
Whose is what?
That must be me. Maybe you couldn't hear that.
Oh, well, I went eek.
Oh, okay. Well, my timer went off.
Oh.
And it was like bling, 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 bling in my ear.
I totally could not hear that.
Okay, that's okay. Great. That was awesome. So anyway, I'm looking at the physical magazine because the magazine is what I launched today. I launched Retro Hip Magazine, and I had all the nervous butterflies this morning when I hit publish or post or whatever I did.
That it was live and...
Yeah, and it's something that I've been working on for a while and something that's obviously been a dream of mine for, I don't know, 20 years. I used to make my own magazines as a kid.
Oh yeah.
So this is really fun to put my graphic design skills back into play, and we have some official titles like Miss Alyssa Duncan is my editor. Editor-in-chief. She took her magic red pen and sliced apart
sliced and diced
all of my errors and thought of some better ways to say some things. So she was a huge part of making sure that I didn't look like an idiot.
I got you, babe. I got you.
She got my back. But anyway, it is available in two formats. So if you go to retrohipshop.com, you can buy the digital version. And so that just, you can download it right on your phone and open up the PDF. You can put it on your iPad. You can view it on your computer, whatever. You can even print at home because there are fun printables in here. There are 3x4 cards and there are little images that you can cut out and put in your planners or your memory keeping albums or whatever. And then there's
sketches,
little worksheets. Yeah, and there's
worksheets and
there's worksheets that you can fill out, and then there's sketches. And we've got a few girls who have contributed a sketch for each theme. So there's a theme for each type of sketch. And then next month, or not next month, next season, next issue, we'll have 3 new categories of sketches. And I'm hoping that you, crafty babes, will submit your layouts and projects for the themes that we've got going for summertime. So check out the magazine if you would prefer to have a printed version like I have, because it's beautiful. There's a link
and then
to
you can
Blurb.
Start a collection.
I know. I'm going to have them like lined up, and they're just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger because I'm just have more and more content as time goes on. But you can order from Blurb, and that just takes you to Blurb's website, and then you can buy it from them, and it's printed and shipped to you, and it's awesome. So go do that.
So exciting.
Yay. I know, it's very fun. Something that it's really fun to see in IRL.
IRL.
Instead of just on my computer.
OMC?
Awesome. Oh, on my computer. OMG. Awesome. So that was my little plug. And I think we can wrap the episode up with we're excited about joining you guys weekly, and we hope that we keep you entertained every Friday.
I sure hope so.
That's it. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening.
And just listening.
Bye.
Bye.